Hello and good afternoon. So I am here to discuss about the monetary policy of Mauritius. So let us begin. So first of all, coming to the introduction, the Central Bank of Mauritius uh, is the Bank of Mauritius, which is responsible for formulating all the different policies, including the monetary policy. And on the whole, it tries to maintain an inflation rate of between 2 to 4% with an average of 3.5% that it tries to maintain. And apart from this, it uses various tools, including the interest rates, managing the exchange rate, and regulating the supply of money and credit. So the basic function of the Bank of Mauritius is to closely monitor all the economic indicators like inflation, GDP growth, and the balance of payments in order to assess the effectiveness of its monetary policy. And in addition to that, it also tries to maintain the financial stability of the in the country and regulating other financial institutions. So moving on to the next slide. So what are the different policies adopted by the Bank of Mauritius? So there are a few different policies that I have listed down here, which is adopted by the Bank of Mauritius. The first of which is flexible inflation target, and the next one we have the inflation forecast. Then next we have the policy interest rate. Then we have the exchange rate, and finally we have the maintaining clear communication. So coming to the flexible inflation rate, so the central bank allows others to pursue the objectives such as stabilizing the real economic conditions and tries to maintain an inflation target ranging between 2 to 5%, and they also try to maintain it with a midpoint of 3.5%. And the next thing that we want to see is that the inflation forecast. So the bank always try to forecast the inflation in order to maintain stability in the country. So the policy rate that the interest policy rate which the bank tries to maintain are what are the different monetary policy signals that would be transmitted in the overnight interbank interest. So the next thing that we come to is exchange rate. So the exchange rate will continue to be as it was under a floating exchange rate regime, and the bank would also try to maintain a smooth maintain to smooth out the excessive volatility of the rupee rate. And the lastly, the communication that the bank would try to bring on its own part will be both for inflation and growth. So what are the new things that has come up in the new operational framework? So first of all, the policy rate. So earlier, which was the level of key rate, will now replace the key repo rate. So the value or the level of the key rate will be same as the level of the key repo rate, and the monetary policy committee will continue to determine the level of the new policy rate. And the next we have is operational target. So there will be the overnight interbank rate, which will replace the yield on the 91-day bill for the as the operational target for the monetary policy. Nextly, the bank will undertake the open market operations and steer the overnight bank rate through the called as the close to the key rate. And the main instruments of the monetary policy, the main innovation that has come up with this new monetary policy is the 7-day BOM bill, or the 7-day Bank of Mauritius bill, which the bank will issue every Friday. So the 7-day bill will be issued at a fixed rate equal to the key rate and on a full allotment basis. So this will ensure the amount of liquidity remaining in the system, and also there will be some reserve money by the banks. So we can anchor around short-term market rates around the key rate. Moving forward, so there are a few things that we need to keep in mind, like there will be a interest rate corridor of 200 basis points around the key rate. So this will be operated in two ways. The first one would be the overnight lending funds, or OLF, and the next one will be the overnight deposit funds, the overnight deposit facility, or the ODF. So the OLF will be made available to the banks at the discretion of the key rate plus 100 basis points, whereas the ODF, or the overnight deposit facility, it will be offered to the banks at a discretion of key rate minus 100 basis points. So this will be the difference in between them. And apart from this, there will be collaterals whenever the bank wishes to avail the OLF facility. For the longer term operations, the Bank of Mauritius instruments will remain a part of the monetary policy toolkit to remove the structural liquidity or to support the market development. Also, auctions of the longer term instruments of the Bank of Mauritius will be conducted in a pre-specified tender amount at rates. So looking through all of this, we finally come to the conclusion, and there are a few points that I would like to bring forth in the conclusion, such as the bank will remove the excess liquidity of the system through the 7-day Bank of Mauritius bill issued at the key rate. And then the banks will be remunerated at a higher rate than the current framework, which will be beneficial for the savers. And this would be the PLR, or the prime lending rate, and it would be adjusted accordingly. So the main intention of the bank is to improve the transmission mechanism of the monetary policy, and bringing the inflation under control will of course be a concern for the bank due to the COVID-19 situation which recently happened, and therefore bringing the price stability will be mandatory in this case. So that was all from my side. Thank you.